How can you help us, though, continue to help you? First, please subscribe to the channel. Like us. If you listen to the audio version, leave us a 5-star review wherever you can. If you see our posts, please share those posts, share the content, and link back to our law firm website, which helps us to continue our SEO marketing and grow our firm and help small business owners.
You only need 1 point from one course. I mean, we're very cost effective. So you just need one thing a year that changes your thought. For a couple $100, it's a no-brainer. And like, that's the pitch, that's the conversation, where it used to cost a couple $100 for going to one course.
All right, I want to welcome everybody back to another episode of the podcast. Mitch Beinhaker, and excited to see everybody here again today, hopefully tuning in on the YouTube channel. If you are listening somewhere, leave us a 5-star review. If you're tuning into the YouTube channel, we want to continue to grow the video side of the business. Share us, subscribe, like us, all that type of stuff, so we can keep connecting with all the interesting entrepreneurs that have been on the show over the last 7 years. I always remind everybody that the information that we discuss in the show is for entertainment purposes only. It's not to be construed as advice of any kind. If you hear something that like David and I talk about or spoken on other episodes, don't make decisions without talking to local licensed professionals. So, David, thanks for coming on the show. You know, I have to admit that I don't normally have attorneys on the show, but you're not really an attorney. You're just an attorney by training, right?
Exactly. And I'm not usually interviewed by attorneys. So
yeah, so there you go. So, and the exciting part is that I am also a Lawline customer. We're going to talk about Lawline today. And I just got the email 2 days ago that my subscription for the year was renewed. So I got to get on.
I hope you were happy about that.
Yeah, well, you know, now I'm on the next, I got to start working on my next.
And we're working really hard to, you know, not that people want us to talk about continuing legal education.
Right.
But my passion is lifelong learning. And my hope is to inspire, empower you to like, see that there's more content there besides what you just need for your credits.
For your credits, right.
But it's hard to do sometimes.
Yeah. All right. Well, when we get further into when you started Lawline, I'm curious to see what happened. Because originally in New Jersey, I mean, you do all over the country, right? So
Correct.
In New Jersey and other states, they didn't have like mandatory CLE, and those all came about. So I'm sure that changed my life. But sure. So we were talking offline. Where are you located? Are you in my area?
I'm in Brooklyn, New York.
Yeah, so we're both on the East Coast.
Yeah.
So we were talking offline that before you started the business 18 years ago, you had like a podcast or a show or something?
Yeah. So it was my second year of law school.
Okay.
I had just actually got rejected from moot court. And
where'd you go to law school? In the city?
New York Law School.
Oh, that's funny. I went to New York Law too.
Oh.
Awesome. You were probably there when there was one building, right? Like me.
Yeah, so I was there before the beautiful new building.
Yeah,
I graduated in 2006. So
I graduated in 92, so I was a little bit behind.
I took a few years off from college.
Okay.
But so I was in my second year of law school. I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. So let me start with that.
Yeah.
When I graduated from college, I thought I would start my business, make 7 figures within a year or two. And of course, that wasn't the case.
Right.
And my first 4 or 5 years, I was working in online advertising and sales.
Yeah.
You know, so, and then my dad's an attorney. He went to New York Law School as well.
Okay.
And all he ever wanted me to be was an attorney.
Yeah.
So it's the last thing I wanted.
Right, but it's a good education. I mean, for a lot of things.
It's a good education. It's also a lot of money to do. So you need to know what you're doing and why you're doing it.
Right.
And so after 6 years in sales, I was like, you know what? I started looking at people 15 years older than me, and they were on their 8th sales job.
Yeah.
So I realized, okay, entrepreneurship wasn't going to happen. Let me just get a career that I can focus on.
Okay.
And then in law school, the bug was still there. And I was like, you know what? Let me start interviewing people who have started their own businesses.
Smart.
And there was a public access channel in Manhattan. It's free.
Is it still there?
I think so. Yeah, it was part of the license with the cable companies.
Okay.
And so I went in. I had a studio. I filmed and recorded it. I went to people's offices and recorded it. And I asked, how did you start your business?
Yeah.
You know, tell me about it. And there was 5 themes that I learned. And those 5 themes helped me start Lawline. But I could tell you everything that I have and built is as a result of that podcast.
Really? So as a result of what you learned. Well, it just shows you that
who I met.
You can get out there, right? Oh, because of contacts you made and connections you made and things like that? Yeah. But I think that's a testament to the fact that business owners can improve their chances of success if they go out and they talk to people and they learn about what people did and didn't do. When I got started, I started in sales too, in like financial services, and then eventually ended up in estate planning and stuff after law school. And that was exactly what my dad said. He said, listen, have coffee with a successful person every month and find out challenges they had and things they overcame and all that kind of stuff. And it pushed my learning curve. You know, it doesn't guarantee success, but it certainly improves it. So that was smart. So, but why'd you do that? Was that something, just an epiphany you had? Or was it like somebody else said, hey, you ought to do this, David? Talk to some people who...
Yeah, no, it was exactly what happened was I got rejected from moot court.
Right.
And I didn't really care about, I love public speaking,
Okay.
but I was trying to build a network.
Yeah.
And then when I got rejected from moot court, I decided I was just going to build my own network. And so that was how it started. And what happened was I started talking to some friends who were entrepreneurs. At first, I went to their offices. Then I went to a trade show, the Cranes. I don't know if you remember Cranes magazine.
Yeah.
I went
Cranes
to one of the
business,
Cranes.
right? Yeah.
And I was walking around and I saw this booth and I told this guy, interview entrepreneurs. He happened to be a part of Entrepreneurs Organization. Have you heard of that?
Yep. EO. Sure.
EO, exactly. And he's like, I have the best entrepreneurs. Come to my board meeting and I'll introduce you. He introduces me. He sends a list out. I start interviewing 2 dozen members.
Got it.
After I did all these interviews, I'm like, someday, if I ever have a business, I want to join this organization. And fast forward a couple of years later, when I started Lawline, they had this new program that if you have 250,000 in revenue, because you had to have 1 million to apply,
higher level,
an accelerator program.
Got it.
Just started it. I just hit 250 with Lawline, and I joined. And then when I joined, I'm like, this fits my purpose, who I want to be in life. Someday, if I have the ability, I want to be president of this chapter.
Okay.
I think it was maybe 15 years later, or 12 years later, I became the president of that chapter. Nice. So, like I said, and then actually, I ended up moving to Barcelona for 2 years with my family as part of being an EO, because I met somebody through that. So like I tell you, that was a direct connection from my podcast, 3 steps removed. But so that's
but networking works, building networks and relationships. That's what it's all about.
It works. The challenge for me is what you think about networking, like going to a cocktail party in a room with 300 people. That is like walking on razors for me, barefoot. I just don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
What I can do and what I love to do is what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
One-on-one focused, deep conversation. And I actually started, because of all the success in my life, and I can tell you dozens of things from that podcast to EO. About just over a year ago, I started a podcast called Lawyers Who Learn. Mm-hmm. And because, as we talked about in the beginning, CLE is, a course.
Right.
Of course, you learn 99% outside of a course.
Yeah, I don't really learn. Every once in a while, I pick up something, but not usually.
And so my purpose of the interview is to talk about that 99%.
Right.
And I've interviewed 130 lawyers within a year, and it's changed. I already feel the trajectory of my life changing from learning from these interviews.
Yeah, because you learn what they need and all that kind of stuff.
And now on the flip side, now I hired a company called Book Thinkers, who I really like them, and they connected me with you. And I love being on both sides of this conversation because of my purpose, but we can talk about that.
So you said, how did you connect to the first guy who brought you to EO, and that's how you interviewed all those people?
He had a booth at the Cranes.
Oh, the Cranes, right. He had a booth because he was looking for people to join EO. Is that what it was?
Exactly.
Got it.
He was the membership. He was in, and by the way, his name was Len Oppenheimer. He became one of my really good friends in EO and mentors, and on the board with me for over the years.
Nice.
I always thank him. He's like, "Don't thank me. Thank yourself." Like, you did that.
Yeah.
And now one of my bucket list items was to join YPO, which is a little bit larger business, not just entrepreneurs. And so 3 years ago, and you have to be under 45.
Right.
So when I was like 44,
young professionals, right?
Yeah.
Under 45, right?
Yeah. So when I was like 44 in like 7 months,
aging out, right?
I put my application in, and I just got accepted.
Now, once you're in, you get to stay in. You just got to join under 45.
The way YPO works is when you're turned 50, they now have something called the gold chapters.
Right.
I don't know. 50 feels a little young these days to be in
tell me
gold.
about it. Yeah.
But there's just another. It used to be WPO actually.
Yeah.
But but you're still in, but you have to be in a different.
You
title.
go like to the
You
senior.
have to go where all the old people go.
Right. You go to the seniors tour. Exactly.
Exactly.
So now, what was the where did the business idea come about, right? Because you came out of law school, you're not going to practice. I was very close to not. Actually, I didn't practice for a long time. I was in sales and financial planning and things like that. And then eventually I migrated back into law for a lot of reasons. So where was the whole, I'm going to teach attorneys CLE? That seems like a weird kind of a thing.
There was two parts to that.
Okay.
Number one, what I just told you is I was interviewing entrepreneurs.
Right.
I actually thought that was going to be my business because that's my passion. And still,
Like interviewing entrepreneurs?
Entrepreneur education.
Okay.
It's for entrepreneurs.
In general.
In general.
Okay.
But my dad had started an idea at Lawline in '99 and had stopped it in 2001 because he was a little bit early for his time. And then the dot-com bubble crashed and he just went back to practicing law. But he always kept the website up and he had some accreditation.
Yeah.
When I started interviewing all these entrepreneurs, I'm like, what if I interviewed lawyers and turned those interviews into courses and then also tell the accreditation agencies I've been around since 1999.
Right, you could tag on to that.
It took
right?
3 years in New York to become accredited.
Okay.
And because of that, I was able to right away get accredited courses.
Meaning you needed 3 years of experience.
3 years. You had to, no, not 3 years of experience. 3 years to actually put courses live without having to send each one individually to the state. So you could still submit, but it was just a much slower, longer process.
After 3 years, you get a blanket approval.
You're essentially the accrediting
As long as
body.
you stick with certain topics or whatever.
Which was a huge deal to build a lot of courses.
Yeah.
And so in law school, my third year of law school, I set up my schedule where 2 days a week I was in school and 3 days a week I was building the business. And by the way, the person I met to build the website and to build the business was somebody who connected with me through my podcast TV show, True NYC, and is still my good friend to this day. And so, again, like I tell you, there were so many different things that put out there. So if there's I guess one big lesson, if anybody's listening to this, like start a podcast, like just do it. Like
get out there and do it, right?
It's the best way to learn. Like I'm learning just talking to you right now, like, and even hearing yourself talk, you're like, oh, I forgot that I did that. Or,
I listen sometimes. I'm like, oh, what am I doing? Yeah, exactly. No, but you're right, because when you do those things and you just take action and things fall into place and you look and you're like, oh, this guy helped me and that helped me. And it just kind of comes together, like things fall into place. And when you don't, or you make bad decisions or you don't take time to learn, then they fall into place like in the wrong way. Yeah. And you kind of spiral.
That's when I get nervous, when some days where it's been a couple days since I've done a podcast or haven't really had a real conversation outward.
Get rusty.
The company. And I'm just like, you get rusty and your pipe, it's not a sales pipeline, but it's a pipeline.
Yeah.
And so your opportunities are less. But sometimes I'm just like, I don't know who to reach out to. I don't know who to connect with.
You have the need, like you feel like you have to be connected with somebody every day, right?
Well, I just feel bad that I didn't.
Right.
Part of it's just, and that's where a podcast helps because it allows you the excuse to connect with people at least once a day.
No, definitely. So back in, this is what, 2006 you said, something like that?
2006.
Okay. So what states were you, like what was the skeletal structure of the business at that point?
Great question.
Just the name?
Only the lawyer
would ask that. Of course.
So the business was, so my mom was doing the accreditation they had 10 courses on the site.
Okay.
They just kept renewing every year.
Right.
It was doing the best $1,000 a month.
So these courses were still approved.
There was 10 courses. She would reapprove every year.
Got it.
And it would get like $1,000 a month, but it cost them more
to maintain it.
Because they had these old servers and all these different things.
And what states were you approved?
There's 2 states. New York
Yeah.
and Virginia, because Virginia was a very, and still is, strict state, which means there's only 20,000 attorneys, or 25,000, but everyone had to do it every year and they tracked it really well.
Got it.
And so when I started, I found 2 other providers, One was Lawline and one was Merino. I don't know if you heard of either.
Yeah.
And I partnered with them with all their content. I put it on Lawline. I did a royalty share with them. So we went from having 10 courses to within 6 months having 300 to 500 courses.
So you basically licensed.
I licensed. I gave them a royalty.
Yeah, that was smart because then all of a sudden you got this huge library, right?
I had a huge library, and then it gave me time to build up my own content.
Right. So you had no restrictions on building your own content.
Correct. So because I knew it would just take a while. And the first, I started the Virginia deadlines in October. I graduated law school. I took the bar. I went on a quick trip, and then I went to work.
Yeah.
And the first thing we started doing was back then. Thankfully we've stopped, but we started sending postcards. And so we got the names of everybody in Virginia, and we sent postcards for the upcoming deadline. And the deadline was in October. That deadline, it was just me and credit cards.
Right.
And we did 10,000 in revenue. And
the deadline was looming. Everybody needed to.
Exactly. It was like,
did you offer like some sort of a discount? Like, because basically these companies are licensing their content and letting you compete with them, right?
yeah, they
didn't care.
It was in the pie. There's a big pie, right?
Yeah.
And so like, to some degree, I don't know if I charge less or the same. It's like, this is where my memory starts to fade.
Yeah.
But this is early in the days. Not everybody was doing well in the internet. It's like, it was hard to do that stuff. So they saw this. Oh, here's a young guy who's aggressive. And by the way, and I made them a lot of money.
I'm sure.
A lot of money. So it was a win-win. And so we made that $10,000, and it was just me. And I remember thinking, wow, can't get better than this. I took my wife out to Union Cafe. We had a great dinner. And of course, that was just the beginning of, a great adventure.
Well, you're only in 2 states at that point. You made 10,000.
2 states and just one person.
Right, exactly. You haven't even made any content.
Yeah, so that was exciting. All
right, so you answered my question about competition because I was curious as to, I guess they make more money. You're only in 2 states anyway. How much could you hurt their business? Did your friends, parents think you were nuts? You graduated law school. I mean, I guess you had it because your dad tried this, but then he went back to law. Well,
so for my dad, it was a no-brainer.
Practicing law.
Because because it was originally his, he's a part partner, he's a part owner of this.
So he still owns part.
He's like, go
for it.
Yeah, go for it, Yeah. But can I tell you, that ended up being a blessing in disguise, because what do you want in life?
Yeah.
You want your parent, like the number one thing that sort of helps drive people, and my mom too, by the way, because they were partners in doing that, is you want your parents to be behind you and excited for you. And what I always knew, and I tell my dad this to his face, I could have never worked for him.
Right.
Because we're both, it just wouldn't work. Like he would trigger me, I would trigger him. But now he's not even involved.
No, right.
He just gets the benefits of it.
Yeah.
And so it's like you got this cheerleader on your side your whole life. And it feels great to be able to like pay him back for all that he's done and then some and beyond that.
Right.
So that's been great. And so I don't know. I think I lost the track of what the question was.
Well, they're supportive of you and where they're
the support. And also, my sister has actually been involved with it now she came in about a year and a half after I started it. And she is the chief people officer at Lawline. Nice. She's unbelievable. She was the straight A student. I was the B- student. And she really helped transform the business in the early years, because in the beginning, especially the first 5 years, it was all 20-something males and her. And she's like, this is not the right place for me. What am I doing here? And of course, as we matured and we have grown and sort of built it up, we now are 70%, or maybe 65%, I don't know what the number is today, women.
Right.
And I'd say, again, I don't know the number, maybe over 50% families. And many of the families have started here, since they're doing that. And at any given time, we have at least 2 people on maternity leave, and we have, which is great. This is what it is. And or paternity leave. We started 2 years ago a rotating 4-day work week.
Okay.
Because I think we were ahead of the time. Like AI has now made that completely much easier and doing things like that.
Right.
But like, to me, it's always been important to have a work-life balance.
Definitely.
And I've always felt the 5-day, 2-day week was, it's built on the factory system, the 9 to 5.
Yeah.
And so
religion, really. Factory and religion. Religion was the weekend. Factory was during the week.
Yeah. And so I've always feel good. I feel good that we're still ahead of.
Basically, an employee can work 4 days. They can pick the 4 days that they work for the month.
It's a rotating 4-day work week.
Yeah.
So every other Friday, half the company has off. So which is an additional 26 days off a year, which allows them to plan long weekends, spend that day with their kids, relax. It turns out like I don't take that day because I can't just like do that, but I do other things.
Yeah.
It's just hard. Today's Friday, right? I don't know.
Unplug.
I don't even know which Friday is my day, but that's okay for me. Like it's my business.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think that you have, I guess, do you have an office? Like it sounds to me like you got more, some of it's virtual, but a lot of people are coming to the office.
We had a beautiful office. Sure. We had it before in 20, whatever the height of COVID was.
Right.
And we were on a 7-year lease and we probably were going to renew it. It was right on Broadway off Wall Street. It was 7,500 square feet.
Yeah.
Beautiful tech space. We had a gorgeous studio. Obviously COVID happened. We all go remote. We were not going to renew the lease then, of course.
Right.
And then we ended up, as they say, burning the ships because we started deciding we were going to hire the talent where they lived, not because they were in New York. And then now we have people in like, I think 10 states, 11 states. So we're completely remote.
Completely. You don't have any office anymore.
I have a co-working space for myself.
That's co-working though. It's not your own.
It's my own office, but it's not, there's no one else there. So what we have done though, with that said, I would challenge any in-person culture versus our culture. Yeah, certainly we do miss something.
I'm in a co-working space. So you're saying nobody walks into like a reception area, it says Lawline behind them.
No, correct. But we do a company, this is just one of the things we do. We do a company retreat once a year.
Yeah.
Last year we were in Montana.
Nice.
We've been in Charleston. We've been in Philly. We've been to a sleepaway camp. This year we're going to Disney World.
Nice.
It's amazing just from a few days together, it helps really build that trust off of Zoom. And then because we are originally a New York-based company, I'd say almost all of our leadership team, if not all of them, is in the tri-state area. So it's easier for us. We do get together more often. Yeah. Or we fly if we need to. So, but yeah, there's no question. There's something that we miss for not being in person.
It's true. But I think we're more productive. You gather, right? You have access to better people because they don't have to be living in New York and New Jersey.
I hated commuting.
Yeah.
And like I said about cocktail parties, I am just not built for small talk in an office. And not because I don't want to, but I want to be focused and talking. And we had an open workspace because that was the cool thing to have.
Yeah.
And so I just think, and people lived in Westchester and New Jersey, like they have some young families. They couldn't do what they just have a different world.
Yeah, the whole world's changed. I mean, look, before this, I could never do the kind of legal work I do remotely. People would be like, what are you talking about? We go to see our lawyer. We don't talk to them on Zoom. What's that? Now most people don't want to come to the office.
I mean, what a change in the legal space. Yeah. You would never get a client on Zoom before COVID.
I didn't even know what Zoom was before COVID.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. And now
look at us.
Nobody wants to meet people in person.
Right. Yeah, in the old days, you and I would get together in a studio, or you come to my office. We'd have a mic down here, and you're here, and we would do our show.
With that said, I am rebuilding a studio for Lawline now and also for my podcast, because it's actually super cost effective. Yeah. And the quality is going to be so much better. Right. And I just think I'm trying to go a little bit opposite now. Right. And do something.
Recapture
it's just not something. And if it doesn't work, we'll stop. But we film enough programs a year that we can give it a go.
But not everybody's like you must deal with attorneys in all states. So
that's
what have to record remotely.
That's another benefit, right? We used to never, before COVID, we didn't even have a setup to do it remotely. Right. Because we stream them live in our platform. So it's not even through Zoom. And so we had to build all of that on the fly. And so people would fly in to teach courses, or almost all of our faculty would be in the tri-state area, even if it was a course for Virginia, they would still be from here most of the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes we obviously do that. Now we do so much more local attorneys. Right. That's been another benefit for sure.
Yeah. So if you're doing a course in Montana, they don't have to fly here. They can do it.
Yeah, and especially for, as you know, estate planning is state specific, so it's
very
specific.
Different. Right. All right. So do you have people you deal with in every state in the country, or you don't necessarily need that?
Do we have customers in every state, or
no? That you do. I know you have. You right? There's no states that you don't offer.
Every state that's mandatory we have, which is
how many states? Yeah,
6 I think is mandatory.
So most of them. Now
what's not mandatory is Maryland.
Yeah.
There's.
Yeah, New Jersey added a couple of years.
New Jersey just added
10 years ago.
We're working on Maryland.
Yeah.
DC is not mandatory, which
good
is not
for
a
business.
We believe in it too.
Right.
There's a couple. Oh, Massachusetts is not mandatory.
Oh, really? Huh.
Yeah.
Surprised.
So
DC I could see because very few attorneys are admitted to DC and have no other bar admissions.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so let's go back to 18 years ago, right? So you're coming out of law school. I don't know if you either had debt or you spent a lot of money going to law school. Now, when we went, it was probably when I went. This is in the early 90s. It was maybe $10,000 a year.
Yeah.
And when you went, maybe it was 20, right? Now it's even more. Now it's 60, 50, or 60. So I don't know if you came up with debt or you spent a lot of money, but what was the financial model? Like how did you think that you could make a living doing this?
Yeah.
And
so
grow a business?
I'm very open.
Dad failed, by the way, but maybe he didn't give it the right go.
I wouldn't say he failed. I just think two things. One, I just think he was two things. He didn't need Lawline to survive. He had his law firm.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
And so I can't tell you how many things I've tried to build on the side or for Lawline, but I can't do both. So that's number one. Number two, he was too early.
Yeah.
It was dial up. Even when I started, it was still dial up.
Yeah, it was hard to do.
Yeah. Right. And then three, if my mom and his other partner and other people were telling him to shut down the website, we're losing money.
Right.
And he's like, I don't shut anything down. So if he shut it down, I don't know, maybe I would have built to something else, but I don't know. I don't know if that's
but it was there. It was.
And Lawline was a brand, right?
Yeah,
it was actually just so you know, I'm not I don't invent things I forgot about this. You say, why did I have a TV show? My dad in 1986 started a public access TV show called Lawline. Oh. So that's where it came from. So it wasn't when people are in politics,
right?
And the kids go into politics, it's like you see that. It's like, I can do that.
The wheel, right? You're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. But go back to your question so I can remember what it was.
We're talking about the financial model. Like your dad hadn't really made money, but he really didn't give it a lot of attention.
Yeah. So this is just, and I've been very open about this.
Yeah.
My dad paid for my law school, and I'm very, very grateful for that. Okay. And that's what I said. I paid him back and then some from Lawline, and I'm very proud of that. And to me, what was so amazing is he came from nothing. I interviewed him in the first podcast. He actually wrote a book as well. Mm-hmm. And he was his dad died when he was 7. His mother came from Russia when she was 12 by herself.
Wow.
And she was a fur. And he was the first one to go to college, first one to go to law school. He had to drive a taxi through law school. And so for him, education was everything.
Yeah.
It changed his life. And so he put that as his priority for me and my sister. And so that was, I would say, if we had all that debt, I don't know if I would have had the confidence to be able to start a business with $200,000 of debt behind me. So I acknowledge that, and I recognize that advantage that most people don't have in the world. It doesn't take away anything that I've done, but I recognize it's a step above. So when you asked me, was I worried? The way I was thinking about it was let me just make a little bit of money and see if I can get it going.
Yeah.
But from everyone's perspective, if I'm going to be honest, nobody expected it to be successful.
No, not even you.
I did.
You did.
I'm just saying, they might not say that now, but when you see somebody do something, they're like, "Good luck, Dave."
Yeah, right.
To your point, my dad couldn't do it.
Right.
And so nobody maybe expected something. My dad's partner was so nervous that, once we came up with a deal, that within a year I would just back out, and now I would own shares of a company that didn't do anything. That was his concern. They just whatever. And so, but what I did do, which was unique for me, I think, I had a business plan from day one. And this is before ChatGPT and all that stuff. And I wrote it down, and it was how I was going to get to $1 million in revenue. And I projected it to be 5 years to get $1 million in revenue.
Okay.
Within 5 years, I got $5 million in revenue. Nice. So I was like, whoa, that.
Right.
I thought we were going to the moon at that point.
Yeah, of course. Well, because things, kept growing.
But then the next 5 years, we were stagnant.
We were just flat, right?
Maybe longer until we rejiggered the business. So that was eye-opening, and that's essentially just to plug my first book.
Yeah.
The Fast Forward Mindset is about the first 5 years, the first 10 years of Lawline, but also it's the story of getting out of your comfort zone, getting stuck, and then figuring out how to break through that. It's a story for entrepreneurs, everybody who needs to get through it, but it's also a framework that I've used for the rest of my life because I'm a self-help addict. So I applied my stories, I applied 30 self-help books.
Yeah.
And towards the end of writing the book is when we sort of started taking off again. We rebuilt and refocused our business and our marketing plans. And now it's, we're, much larger company and trying to have as much impact on the industry as possible.
All right. So can we explore that a little bit then? So when you hit the $5 million revenue, which was 5 times where you thought you wanted, at least from a planning standpoint, what made you stagnate for the next 5 years? Why? You were still doing 5 million, but you weren't growing, is what you're saying, right?
Well, I can tell you when you look at the amount of this is going to sound obvious, but it wasn't so obvious until we looked at the data. We were losing the same amount of customers we were gaining. Yeah. It was confusing because we were gaining new customers every year. What's going on?
Right. But revenue's not going up.
But revenue wasn't going up. And we were losing a lot because there was no brand loyalty. There was no reason to stay. I think we didn't even have a true subscription then. And I think that's when things changed, when we opened it up. Like you just said, you were renewed 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Most of our customers.
I forgot about it. I set it up that way, and then
so let me tell you that. So that was the decision we made that changed everything.
Okay.
And what we found is every year, sorry, I'm
get some water. We don't want to lose you during the podcast.
Every year, how if it's not a subscription, January 1st, you're starting from scratch.
Right.
You got to rebuild it up.
Right.
And it wasn't like we were building. It wasn't like every year we just start from scratch and it was all new customers. We were still retaining 80% of our customers, but we had to spam them and send them emails and do that. And what we realized is most of these customers they want to stay with us. We just don't make it easy enough. We did the subscription and that changed everything. And of course there's a segment who doesn't want to renew, and we make it so easy to opt out or to not be part of it. But it has made life easier for our customers and for us. And so now what we do is we put almost all of our energy, and you probably don't know because you're not nobody pays attention to the company. All of our energy is to provide more value for you. And how do we create?
So I keep renewing. Yeah.
So you keep renewing, but really, I mean, this sounds stupid, but hopefully you'll get an ROI. You'll learn something that can have an impact in
not just getting your credits.
That's my hope, right? Right. And I recognize that's sometimes a hard thing.
Yeah.
But you only need 1 point from one course. I mean, we're very cost effective for all the quality, the courses and the quality that we do. So you just need one thing a year that changes your thought for a couple $100. It's a no brainer. And that's the pitch. That's the conversation. Where it used to cost a couple $100 for going to one course in person.
You can still do that.
Yeah, and it still costs that,
Yeah, if I go to probate day for ICL, it's for a couple $100.
Yeah,
sometimes I do to spend the day and get in the credits, but
exactly. But I
got to do in person also. That's the thing.
Yeah, we do in person. We just
the live courses count, right?
Yeah, so they do. For New York after COVID, the in-person live we can do online. They just changed the rules for Bridge the Gap, which is the new attorneys.
Okay.
They have to now go back in person. So we just started redoing in person. And where are we doing the courses? At New York Law School.
There you go. Nice. Because New York Law School. I was even before you. When I was there, they had they had two buildings on the corner of Church and Worth. They had a library, and they had a school, and then they added the other library, and now they do the whole block. Well, it was tiny.
Well, they sold the Mendick Library for hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah,
and that's where they got, and then they put that money
back into.
Yeah.
Now it's a big glass structure. It's beautiful. Yeah, it's always after I go. That's
exactly.
The whole thing.
You can get an alumni card and go back anytime.
Yeah, I can.
I got one and I started working in the library.
Yeah.
And then I was just like, I felt awkward. I'm like trying to, I don't know, it was like all like 20 somethings in law school. And I was like, I don't need to do this.
It's funny, but the kind of law that I practice, all transactional business stuff, estates, I don't have any need for a law library of any kind.
Yeah, for sure. Well, no, most people don't anymore.
I don't even have a LexisNexis subscription. Like I don't need to look up case law and stuff like that. That's changed. All right, so you put the business plan together, and then so things started turning around. It was because of the subscription thing, setting it up that way, automatic. Yeah, because I think that if I didn't have a subscription, what I would do is as I'm getting close to the deadline, I'd start to get postcards from different companies or emails, and I'd be like, "What's the cheapest? Like, how do I do this as cheap as I can?" Because attorneys are always looking for, because we're all trying to stuff.
And it's understandable, and that's why and I think we're still working on it, and we see, so two things. It's changing the value proposition, like I just said, and because ultimately $200 doesn't mean anything to you. No. I'm not saying it's not nothing, but compared to what you spend,
it's not free with the other companies. So it's the question of the differential, not
right. And it's compared to what everything else costs. So if we can show you that there's value, even if it's your off year for your deadline, my hope is that and we're still working on this. It's just there's 2,000 courses in there. We have 150 courses on AI right now. We've just also built an AI learning assistant where you don't even need to ask, you don't even need to watch a course. You can just ask questions. And we need to do a better job. You probably didn't even know that.
No, I haven't got in recently, but I've been thinking there's probably is. Everywhere I go, there's an AI bot.
So there's a lot that we do to try to do that, but it's still mandatory education that there's a percentage of the legal attorneys who resent it because it's mandatory. And I get that. And so that's why we're trying to make it as helpful and pain-free as possible. But it's a competitive space because it's mandatory. And when it becomes that, it comes a little bit of a commodity because everyone needs to do it.
Yeah. Well, I think New Jersey ICL was, continuing legal education wasn't making any money before it was mandatory. You only had that 3-year window where you had to do things.
Exactly.
So now, and I waved into New York, but I didn't have to do the beginner stuff.
Good.
Practicing so long.
The other thing I wanted to tell you, every day we get, and we're doing this for a decade now, we get an email to the entire company of all the course comments that people made the day before, and there's hundreds or thousands of them. They're not mandatory to make them, but at the end, there's a form that you fill out. You probably remember. Yeah. It says, do you have any comments about this? And that's where things really shifted for us when we started that. Because before that, we're like, oh, people are just coming for the credits, right? And then people
didn't ask.
We didn't ask. And they're just like, I've been binge watching this practice area because I just switched practice areas. This course has transformed how I think. Yeah. And so that's where it's we came up with this line, come for the credits, stay for the content. We don't push that line, but there are so many different things that we're trying and experimenting with to add value.
No, there's no question about it. Some attorneys kind of dabble, they start getting a little business, in family law, and they're really an estates attorney, and they're like, I want to do more of that. And then they go out and they just binge a ton of stuff to learn. They got to learn other ways too. It doesn't help you just practice just by watching.
No, but it helps a ton.
A lot.
And by the way, and the other thing is, they've reached out to the faculty and either give them referrals or just want to connect with them or whatever. And that's one area that we're really focused on, and we're about to launch something new, is taking care of our faculty, treating them like rock stars, treating them like the stewards of the profession that they are by putting their time out there. And we create these faculty dashboards that will show the performance of their courses, their content. When they get a course comment, they're going to get an email. You got a new comment, because that's what people want to see, the feedback. And they get hundreds of. Well, you teach a course on Lawline, you'll get between, depending on the topic and the area, 1,000 to 5,000 people watching it. That's a lot of feedback to get. So it's a great experience being a faculty member.
Now, one of the things, maybe you do have courses on this and I just don't find them, but I find that we don't have any courses, certainly that are approved for anything, that deal with like practice management, business, marketing, like none of that stuff, at least in New Jersey, is approved for accreditation, to meet your requirements. Like, and I guess I coach a lot of colleagues. I should do it. I don't do it for money. I probably should I do it for free. I should help, right? But yeah, that none of them have any business skills. Like they don't know how to, like you said, network and market themselves on a regular basis and set things up so they automatically are connecting with people and creating content and all that kind of stuff on top of the networking, on top of the referrals. And it's a lot of feast or famine, like, so that's always seemed to be a missing piece in the legal education community, maybe because the bars don't support it. I don't know.
Well, there's two components to that. One, for most bar associations, they don't allow you to credit marketing, which I disagree with. But practice management, there
are some of those.
There's a lot. No, there's a lot of that and a lot of business stuff. But what I can tell you is a lot of that stuff.
Maybe you're getting your calendaring from one software and you're invoicing from another. Even is a platform that we use as one of our sponsors to run our entire business. And there's other features like auto payments and integrations with QuickBooks. Visit evenue.com, EVONUE.com to learn more. There's also a link in the show notes. And be sure to tell them that the Accidental Entrepreneur referred you. This podcast is brought to you by our affiliate sponsor, iEmployee. iEmployee is a virtual assistant service that hires almost anyone for any role in your company right out of the Philippines. Most roles range from $7 to $9 an hour for highly skilled and experienced VAs. And whether you need an executive assistant, social media manager, video editor, customer service, sales, you name it, they have it. We use iEmployee for our VA services, from editing and promoting the podcast to all the PR and promotion of our law firm. iEmployee acts as a virtual field supervisor on the back end with live video monitoring and reports on a daily basis with screenshots of your VA's workday, and along with complete HR and payroll duties. No more paying for overpriced and underqualified workers. There's a link in the show notes to get a 1-week free trial, and I encourage you to take advantage of it.
You don't learn in one course. You need to hire a coach.
You need like a series of courses. Right?
And so the truth is, I think you need more than a course. You need a person, an experience, and a community. And so that's where you see the coaches that charge thousands of dollars or more to do that. And look, if it helps you get money, it's worth the investment. And so that's the bridge of, like, we actually are launching. We just launched a coaching program. The first one's on leadership and leadership empowerment, because I believe, just in my own life, courses take you to this level. Yeah. Coaching takes you to the next. Yes. And so marketing is an area where you're going to get into with coaching. And again, just like anything else we do, it's going to be more cost effective than if you were to hire somebody for thousands of dollars, it's going to be, we're finalizing that. But you need to talk it out like this. You need to ask questions. Yeah, you need to get pushback. And you need accountability over a long period of time to do it.
Yeah, I think, though, if you're talking, look, I've read the studies from some of the like Clio and some of those platforms that they do all those surveys for the attorneys. There's something like a little under 1.5 million attorneys who are listed active in the United States, and like more than 80% of them are in either tiny or solo practices. Like corporate, government, and big law is a very small part of the practicing population, right? So you would think that coming out of law school, or when you're a young attorney, right, and maybe you don't have the money for coaching, or you can't make the connection between the ROI and so forth, that if they had courses on how to start and run your law practice. I mean, they do have things like on trust accounting and things like that, but there's a lot of it when it comes to the business side of law that nobody thinks, like law is a profession or law is a business, right? I think it's a business. But so it seems to be that if a lot of these people are going to end up practicing solo anyway, right? So why should they struggle when you can at least start them on the path, and then you can move them up to coaching, once you've
We have a whole curriculum for starting up your own practice on Lawline.
Right. You just don't get credits for it, right?
No, you do.
You do? It's
these
credit?
These are all practice management courses for sure.
Oh, all right.
And
Well,
in
maybe
all
I'm just
states,
not caught up on it.
I will send you a link after. Not that you need it anymore,
right.
but I'll send you some of the stuff that we have. The
But just
marketing
marketing is what's not.
marketing is always the challenge, yeah.
But
I would argue, like in law school, you can, there should be a solo firm,
track.
yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, look, marketing and business development is, this is what I find with attorneys, right? Maybe, I don't know if you find the same thing. They'll get busy and then they'll get busy doing their work and they'll stop like networking and marketing because they don't want to do it to begin with. And then that goes down and then it's a seesaw.
Well, that's what's challenging about being an attorney.
Yeah.
You're a salesperson and then you're also the product.
Right.
So it's hard to do both for sure.
know.
As a solo, for sure.
I tell young attorneys, spend 80% of your time marketing, business development, squeeze in the work, and the other 20% of your time, and you'll never, starve. But it's hard. So maybe I could talk you into, maybe we could do it would have to be a test, right? Because you can't get accredited for this, but maybe we could do some sort of a marketing and sales development course for attorneys and see if we get any kind of feedback for people.
And that's a challenge. We do have courses, a bunch of courses on our site without credit. The challenge is when you have a catalog of 2,000, it's hard for those to like stand out, and people are always busy and crunch for time.
Right.
And like even if that course
They're doing it because they need the credits,
Yeah. So yeah.
And they want to get both.
Yeah.
All right. So
we've just alienated the 95% non-lawyers here.
Right. Exactly. No, but it is a challenge for attorneys to practice and to grow their business just like any other business owners. So I think a lot of attorneys look at these things. Look, what was it? It was like during COVID, I think. I did like a business plan challenge, right? I did like a challenge. Like you could sign up. This was a free thing I did. And I got, 30 or 40 people that signed up. We were going to write a business plan in a week. It was each stage. And at the end, I don't know, maybe I had a prize. I don't remember. Only one or two finished, by the way. They didn't, right? They signed up. It was free. Maybe it was cost money. They would have. So, but I had a bunch of attorneys who responded to me and said, should I be participating in this? Like, what do I need a business plan for? I'm like, of course.
Yeah.
You don't have a business plan for your practice and what you want to grow and how you want to grow and how you're going to market. None of them do. Yeah. I mean, I've never seen any.
No, totally.
Yeah. I mean, you wrote a business plan coming out of law school for the business. What was the epiphany of that? I better do this or I'm going to fail? Or somebody said, hey, you better write this? Like, where did that come from?
I was convincing my dad and his partner that let me.
Oh, yeah. So you did a pitch deck for your dad.
It was like I wanted the Lawline brand. And
Yeah.
so I needed to convince them that, because they spent, even though it wasn't making money, they spent a lot of money in 1999.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's still, I still needed their.
Was it trademarked at that point? Lawline?
Trademarked.
Yeah. So they had the trademark.
And there's even a better story about it. Like when my dad first launched it, he had trademarked Lawline because I told you he had the public access TV show, and he had trademarked it. When the internet became the internet and the websites that were doing, somebody else registered lawline.com. He sued him for trademark infringement.
Yeah.
And that's how he got the URL. And so having trademarks actually means something.
Yeah, if you can, right. And especially when you're a lawyer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's funny. I filed a trademark for the Accidental Entrepreneur for the podcast. I get a cease and desist letter from Entrepreneur.com and Entrepreneur Magazine. They go after anybody who uses the word entrepreneur.
I've heard that for sure.
Yeah. And you know what? Because you have to disclaim the use of just that word.
Yeah.
I probably would have won, but the time and the money that I would have spent. So I just agreed to withdraw the application, and I still use the name, and they don't bother me.
Totally.
Yeah, because they, about genericide, right? So so genericide means that the name becomes so common that you lose your protection, and that's very common, like Velcro.
Yeah.
Velcro's constantly fighting that. Even Google is probably fighting it, right? Because people say Google, it's Xerox.
Yeah.
Those kind of things that become regular. Yeah, too generic. Absolutely. All right. So where you alluded to a little bit, but where's the next stages of the business? Like what's happening? I mean, you're in every state, everybody's getting their credits. Like what else is there to do?
Nice
studio, you said.
So where are we at today is a question?
Yeah, you're kind of plateauing out. Like there's only so many states in the country. There's only so many attorneys.
Yeah. So we're still growing.
Okay.
Because even now we only have 5% of the market because
good.
it's such a fragmented market.
Yeah.
That at 1 million attorneys, there's bar associations, there's tons of mom
Places
and pop.
you can get credits, right?
There's public companies.
Yeah.
And so there's always a constant fight. And then there's the low cost providers, the higher cost, worse, in the middle. So that's always a nonstop focus to better improve our product and continue to grow there. We've launched a couple products as well because we are now we used to just focus on the small to mid-sized firm.
Yeah.
Now we work with a lot of AmLaw 100 firms or big firms
Right.
to support their organizations.
Yeah.
And so we built a lot of products and tools for them.
So it's like a corporate thing, and all their attorneys can use it.
We can actually host all their content on our site, do all their accreditation for them. So that's been our fastest growing business since we launched the company, besides our core. And so that's been really exciting as well. And we are continuing to, now that the ability to build software is essentially, the cost has gone down almost to zero.
Yeah, right.
From what it used to. I mean, our developers don't code anymore. They use Claude Code.
Right,
And
of course.
So because we have great customers and a great product, we're constantly looking to see how can we provide you more value in your subscription or even outside of your subscription. And so we're constantly testing new ideas, and hopefully one of them will hit. But I'm a big believer in the Jeff Bezos philosophy, which is like the chances, it's not a baseball game where when you try something, the most you can get in is a home run.
Right.
Every so often, once or twice in 100, you can get outsized returns. You can get 1,000x return on something you try.
Yeah.
So with that chance of getting 1,000x returns on one of your ideas that you execute, it's worth the risk to do all these different experiments, knowing that 99 of them will be either fails or just singles, right? Or doubles, or break even. And so we're constantly focused on that experimental thing to get that 1,000x return. So
It's like the venture capital approach, right? I mean, they don't expect to hit a home run 9 times out of 10.
No, it's just like anything, right? And so, and what we have that's different than like a startup.
Yeah.
We have 2,000 courses. We have 50,000 customers.
Right.
We have a brand that's trustworthy and building out there. So we're constantly trying to figure out how to better support our customers and our faculty. And we have a couple things up our sleeves that we'll be launching in the next 6 months.
Nice. So keep an eye out. All right. So I was thinking, I'm wrong, obviously, but I was thinking that, you're kind of at the level where it's like the phone companies, right? They get few new entrants they're just moving people back and forth, but I guess that's not true. But people age out of CLE, right? At some point, I think they hit 70 or something. They don't have to do it anymore.
Yeah, they age out, they retire, and
then new people come in.
They were working at a firm, and the firm was paying for their CLE and all. So we're constantly having that. There's always churn in a business like this, and there's no. We're not. The first 5 years, we grew 500. We're growing 100% a year, 200%.
Right, because there was
We're not there anymore. So that's the harder part. To do that when there's only 1 million attorneys. We have a low cost. A couple $100 a year. There's only so high you can get to unless you adapt or pivot to something else of value for attorneys.
Right. Well, if you have 50 to 70,000 customers, right?
Certainly, it's a great business and it's a great value. It's a great product for sure.
Right. And subscription models are good for business. That's
that's why 80% of our energy is providing value for our existing customers.
Because that's your cheapest route. You don't want to
cheapest, and totally. And we also, just so you know, we are in the CPE space for accountants as well, which is a pretty big market.
How long you been in that one? Long time?
Long time, 10, 15 years.
It's not called Lawline, is it?
Further ed.
Further ed. Okay. So you're adding, so at the most, you're adding a couple thousand new customers a year and keeping your old customers. That's the growth pattern?
It's a lot more than that, but.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Good. So if people want to kind of learn your story and learn from you, and maybe they're not lawyers, they're business owners or whatever, what's a good way for people to connect with you?
There's two ways I would recommend. LinkedIn, I'm very active there.
Okay.
And then 2, I just published a book called
Yeah.
11 Suitcases in February. Go to 11suitcases.com. You
Yeah,
can
we'll put
not only
links in
see
the show notes.
you can not only see the story of us moving abroad for 2 years. It shows you a link to the book. It gives you pictures and stories about sort of how I built where I am, why I am where I am today, and the struggles that I face daily.
Very nice. And is it also available on Amazon?
Yeah, there's a link to Amazon from there.
Like everybody in the world.
Yeah.
You know,
Where else?
sell
Where
your
else?
own book.
So,
Exactly. All right. Well, David, I can't thank you enough for
Thanks,
coming
Mitch.
on the
Yeah.
show. And yeah, keep growing the content. I'm gonna get on, see what new tools you guys have.
Maybe you will be a faculty member if
Talk
you,
about it. Absolutely.
yeah,
I've always
if you have time in your schedule.
teaching's at a heart. So
Yeah.
I can't thank you enough. And just
Thank you.
keep helping the lawyers.
And thank you, and keep doing what you're doing with the estate planning and the podcast.
Yeah.
In addition to being a podcast host, I'm also a small business attorney, mostly providing legal services in New York and New Jersey. With over 3 decades of experience, we can handle most transactional issues. So if you're watching the show and you encounter some sort of legal issue, reach out to us and visit our website, beinhakerlaw.com. Thanks for tuning into the show and for continuing to support us.